captain?
Mick was very, very good. You can see from the day one he came in, you see his quality on the training pitch, in the analysis room, the way he shaped that culture and environment. It's like one of the best that I've seen. But that's football. Like, of course, best players move on, the best staff, they get taken too. So it's a case of we're still trying to keep a lot of the things that he's introduced. I don't want it to end here. But then from there, it helps you then when you are fit, it helps you appreciate all the little things, like you realise that everything can be taken away from you from a second.
Hi, welcome to the Winners Mindset podcast. Luke, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Really good, thank you. And I just wanted to ask you to start off with, and how's this kind of last few weeks with you been? Because you obviously had kind of the mid-season break. It's been a long break. So how's that you been as players, and how do you keep up kind of your levels of fitness really during this time?
Well, like a lot of clubs, we had a bit of time off. So I spent 5 days in Dubai. Just a bit of relaxing, a bit of training, a mix of both really. Just trying to recover enough, but trying to also stay as fit as possible, But it's important just during this period to sort of just switch off. I think mentally is the biggest thing. Just mentally switch off for a bit because now we know that's it. We're in the thick of it now, right the way up to the next international break, which involves obviously a busy Christmas period, busy New Year period, and then plenty of games through January with the FA Cup and all that stuff. So it's more just a mental reset, really.
Yeah, for sure. And just to start off, I always ask this kind of thing, and I think it's kind of the base of what my podcast really wants to understand. I think for you, what is a winner's mindset?
What's that? Sorry.
What is a winner's mindset?
Oh, that's a tough question because I think ultimately it depends on who you ask. But for me, a winner's mindset is the fear of losing. So if that makes sense. So
Yeah,
it's not even about winning. It's more just fear of losing and fear of failure. So you work more harder and you work more so you win. So you don't lose. So I'm more running away from loss than I am than chasing winning. If that
yeah,
makes sense for me
yeah,
anyway.
yeah. And you've obviously in your kind of your career, you've had a few hard knocks downs, really setbacks with the ACLs. And I just want to know, is that kind of fear of losing come from that? And how's that kind of, you kind of learned from that mentally? Has that made you stronger now?
I think during both times, the fear of failure is what gets you through it. So when I had the first one, it's like, oh, I've got to come back. This can't be the end of me. I come back, I play whatever. I do the next one. It's like, yeah, same again. I don't want to. I don't want it to end here. But
Yeah,
then from the injuries, it helps you then when you are fit, it helps you appreciate all the little things, like you realize that everything can be taken away from you from a second. Like each day you go into the training pitch, it's a blessing. Like it's the life you live is a gift from God. Because even football aside, when you're injured and you're on crutches and you're bedbound, like stuck in your bed, feeling sorry for yourself, just to be out walking, be with your friends every day, to be playing football, to be have a roof over my head, all of that stuff. Like yeah, it's the setbacks which always make you feel more grateful. Also, like fuel you on to do like more in the future.
and how hard was that during that time for you mentally? Did you have to see anybody for help? Mental health wise, you just had loads of injuries, you just joined QPR, now you've had this, and who did you kind of talk to during that time?
I learned a lot about myself during both of them. I think the first one, it was a bit of a smoother process. It was literally I'd done it, I knew what it was, had the operation. I was flying, I was ahead of the schedule for everything. So that one was a bit smoother. Of course, there was down days. I remember there was days when I cried in the gym by myself and stuff, but you
Yeah,
get through it. But the second one was a lot more difficult because at this point I was living by myself. So you spend a lot of hours by yourself. Like it was during COVID as well. So the days were a lot shorter in terms of the players in and out. So most of the time it would be me by myself. That was really tough. And plus the injury itself was more complicated. So it just took a bit longer, it was a bit slower. And at the same time, the first time I had to watch all my peers pass me, which was very tough. But the second time it felt a bit closer to home because, for example, maybe the first time I was watching, like, I don't know, let's say it was like Dembele at the time. Like he's already miles ahead of me. But here you see when they bring in new players, and you think if I didn't get injured, like I'll be playing and stuff. So that was quite tough to watch. But that then fuels you to keep working hard, and you have that. I think all players have that inner belief that, you know what, like when I get back, I'm gonna get my spot. So I guess that's what drives you in every little detail when it comes to legs or like balance or upper body or core, like swimming. You just try and get the 1%. I feel like 100%. That's the way I try to work anyway.
Yeah, and with the QPR time, because I obviously watched you a bit then, and I think when you got kind of the injury, it was at like kind of like at the start of the season, and kind of you just joined, and that was, as you said, that was probably the hard one for you, and and how important was Mark Warburton during that time, and did you have any conversations with him, and did he have to try and reassure you that after you went through this kind of process that you would be part of his plans?
I think it's tough because my first year on loan at QPR was my introduction season after my first ACL, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that season, when I joined permanently, I was just, let me go show my proper qualities now. Like I've had a year under my belt. Let me go show what I can do. I started the first 6 games or 5 games. Like, here we go, get it going now.
Yeah.
Then just take it away like that. And one thing. So obviously Mark was like very good with me. Like he brought me to QPR. He gave me an amazing opportunity, which I'm truly grateful for. But in terms of in football, there's no assurances. So like I don't think it's unfair for a gaffer to say, oh, like when you're back, you're gonna play. Like of course they assure you in terms of like, you know, you will get back, you'll be fine, and all this stuff as they should, because that's how you will be fine. But to promise things, I thought that's why the gaffer was good, because he didn't really do that with me. But I didn't really want that from him either, because some players maybe cling on to that, and then when they do come back and things are not going how they want to, it can be a big disappointment. Whereas I knew that, okay, I'm at the bottom of the hill now. I just got to work my nuts off, do all I can to get to the top of the hill, and then hopefully meet the gaffer up there and he puts me in the team. So yeah.
And I just want to know, how was the time at Spurs like for you then? Because you were there for a few years. Obviously, you made an appearance and you went on a few pre-season tours, and you worked under the likes of Pochettino and Jose Mourinho there for a bit. And I just want to know kind of the time there was like.
Yeah, it was good. Obviously, I'm from. I done the whole journey. You know, I joined under 10s. I done the whole academy schoolboy thing. Done my under 18 scholarship. Was in the under 23s for a bit, the reserves. Then eventually made the step up. So for me, it's a case of, and there's some loans thrown in there as well. Like it was a period of all sorts. Like I feel like for me going out Stevenage on loan was like a really big thing. Like the gaffer had seen me a little bit here and there, but me going away for a few months, this is Pochettino I'm talking about, me going away for a few months allowed me to, I don't know, I just sort of came back with a new energy. And then it was during the World Cup as well. So I had the benefit of some of those England boys were away, so there's a few gaps. But that pre-season I trained very well. Then when the opportunity came to play in the games, I played well as well. I surprised myself with the ball, not with my quality, but like I was surprised with the amount of games that I did play. And then it was inevitable that following that good pre-season that I'll then make my debut. But it's just unfortunate that, again, like the ACL took that opportunity away from me. But there are loads of ifs, buts, and maybes. Like if I didn't get injured, where I'll be now, this, that. But I trust God, and I know that what He has for me is what He has for me. Like, I can't complain. Like life's good now, so that's just the way it goes sometimes.
Do you still have hopes that you will one day play in kind of the Premier League, be where you kind of really wanted to be, and really build yourself up again? And do you feel right now really consistent in terms of you've not been injured for a long time, and you feel like you are kind of building on something?
For me, I try and not look too far ahead. But that's one thing I've learned, is that you can make all the plans in the world, but that doesn't always work the way you want to. So mine is more just short-term things, making sure I keep fit, making sure I keep myself in the team, playing well. Then where I get to is where I get to. Like we've got a really good group here. We all push each other on, and there's no reason why in 12 months' time, like we might be sitting here in the new training ground as a Premier League club. So I don't look for too far ahead. I just take each day as it comes. But yeah, of course, that's my dream, to be a Premier League player and to show my stuff and to do my work on the
Yeah.
biggest stage of them all.
And you've also said like a few times that you got on really well with Mark Warburton, and I just wanted to know what made him so kind of special for you, and why did you kind of really get on well with him?
I think so. Before I joined QPR, I knew a little bit about his teams in Rangers, and I remember his Brentford team. I remember watching the Brentford team, and I thought, "Oh, what a good team! The way to get on playing and stuff." And then I think, yeah, towards the back end of my rehab, like, my agent has told me that QPR could be interested, and it's coming from like Mark. He's the one that was pushing it. He spoke to my ex-academy director, John McDermott, whatever, who was there at the time. And yeah, he said it'd be like a perfect one for you. Pochettino gave it the green light. He liked the work of what Mark was doing and stuff. So yeah, like, this gave me this great opportunity, and like, I played a lot of games under him. There was times when I'm in and out of the team, whatever, but that's football. But as a whole, so I played a lot in my first year. Then I came back after ACL, and I played quite a few games last year. So like, as a player, all you want to do is play, and you can never talk badly on a manager that's giving you an opportunity to play. Like, you can play someone else, you can easily play other people, you can bring people in on loan or whatever. So yeah, that's why I'm thankful that he played me.
Yeah. And do you think, and how's it been with him kind of leaving? Because obviously Mick Beale came in and now he's obviously gone, and you're obviously going to get somebody else in soon. And do you think it's been hard for maybe you since he's left, or has Mick been really good with you and stuff like that? And how's it impacted you?
Mick was very, very good. You can see from the day one he came in, you see his quality on the training pitch, in the analysis room, the way he shaped our culture and environment. It's like one of the best that I've seen. But that's football. Like, of course, the best players move on, the best staff, they get taken too. So it's a case of, we're still trying to keep a lot of the things that he's introduced. Of course, yeah, all bit at the time we were disappointed because we want to keep the where something that was working and we lost it. But that's what people move on. So for now, it's just, we've got Paul Hall in now. We had a good training session today, so we'll see what the future brings. The focus comes down to players, regardless of what manager comes in. Ultimately, it's come down to the players. So yeah, we're just looking ahead now. We've got a big game on Sunday, and then it all starts again, the back end of the season. So yeah, we're prepared for that.
Yeah, and the other week I was talking to Tom to Charlie Austin, and he was talking to me about how kind of social media now has kind of affected football players' mental health a lot, and kind of the media can have harm on players' kind of performances. You've seen with people like Harry Maguire, there's a lot of media attention with him, and other players. How much does the media, from what you see, really affect a player plays football? And do you think we should pay more kind of interest in seeing more from, okay, who is Luke Amos, than seeing him on a pitch for 90 minutes?
I do like that the culture is changing a little bit. We're not like quite the American culture yet, where you can sort of be yourself and that.
Yeah.
But I think there's a bit more freedom for expression in terms of, especially on like social media, maybe things you can post now, maybe you couldn't post. There's a lot more interaction between players and fans through podcasts like this and interviews and that. I feel like players are more accessible to fans, which
Yeah.
does help. At the end of the day, I guess fans and everyone, they pay their money to watch the games, to follow the team. So there's a certain expectation. I do think some of it's a bit too much. Some of it's a bit unfair because, like, sometimes players might feel like, oh, you can't do it. But at the same time, the argument is you're paid money to do it, so do it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But some of it's harsh, especially, obviously, of course, there's definitely a red line not to cross. There's a line which people do pass when it comes to like abuse and stuff like that. But I think as footballers, we're all tough enough to take criticism. But a lot of players now, they don't get too excited when they get praised, and they get excited when they get too criticised by fans. Me personally, for me, it's about the people's opinions that count the most. Are obviously my coaches and my teammates. So they're the ones that I try and impress every day because I want to play. Of course, I do want the fans to like me too. Like, especially at QPR, we've got a great set of fans. Whenever I see a fan on the street or in and around the stadium, they're always full of praise and stuff. So, of course, just always in every group, there's always maybe a few on Twitter that might come at you here and there. But you can't, in life, you can't please everyone all the time. So I think that's just a reflection of our society. Some of the abuse that footballers get, I feel like in any sport or any walk of life, people just get abused on social media now anyway. So yeah.
Would you at maybe like a club like Spurs have somebody inside that club to manage kind of a player's social number, just to kind of help them, or kind of maybe when you're like a younger player and you've shot up and you've got loads more attention, would you have somebody there to kind of guide you through that kind of phase?
I think, well, nowadays, yeah, I think the kids. So I think I had media training from 16. So I'd imagine that they started even earlier now. Like even at 16 years old, the club was telling me, "Oh, go through your old tweets, delete this, delete that." So I think it's just part of the modern game now because anyone can make a Twitter account. You're 14, 15, but you tweet something wrong, you still judge and try like an adult. So yeah, there's definitely people that manage media and all that stuff now. So I feel like, but yeah, people are getting better with that. But at the same time, it's important to still be you online. Do you know what I mean? Still let your personality come across, and all this stuff. So it's just finding that balance, really.
Yeah, you're right. Some of my mates have, and some of my family have just wanted to ask a few quick questions. It's just to end off. So, who's the best player that you've played with?
Oh, I played with. Like of course, like I played like Tottenham, so you could say like Harry Kane's and Mr. Belle's of the world and the Sun. But Aberi Eze absolutely frightening in
No,
training, in games. Like in that first season I was here, he just ripped the Championship alive, and it's no wonder that he's now doing the Prem. So he's up there. He's definitely a bar the Tottenham players, bar like the Harry Kane's. I think it's got to be Ebbs.
yeah. And do you think Ebbs will hit kind of like? Do you think he'll maybe break into the kind of the England squad maybe one day?
Yeah, without a doubt, Ebbs, there's no ceiling for Ebbs. As long as he stays fit, keeps working, keeps doing what he's doing, he's going to get all the way to the top. I'm so sure of it.
He's top. And who's the best player that you've played against?
Who's what?
Who's the best player that you've played against?
I played against. I walked off the pitch thinking, oh, wow. I'm not sure. I don't think I played anyone in the game who has been better than the players I played against, that I played with. If you're looking for big names, like obviously when like Calvin Phillips in the champ played against him and played like people like that, but I'm not sure. Best player, I couldn't tell you really. That's a tough one.
Yeah. What's the best advice that you've been asked?
Just got to enjoy life. Pure and simple, enjoy life. Try not to let things get like too ahead of you. And just got to enjoy each day. Even the tough days will pass. There'll be good days again. Like, just try and enjoy life. That is it. At 25 now, that's one thing I've realized. I just got to enjoy life.
Yeah, 100%. What's your pre-match meal?
What's that? Sorry.
What's your pre-match meal?
My pre-match meal, I have salmon, pasta with like a green pesto or a tomato sauce, avocado, and then also have a slice of toast with banana on it and peanut butter. Perfect.
Now, this is the last one. Describe yourself in 3 words.
Describe myself in 3 words.
Yeah.
Intelligent, moany, that's for sure. But very selfless.
Top. Cheers for that, Luke. I really appreciate it. And thank you for watching.
Thank you for having me.